Go.
Welcome back to day two of Champions League, our Cube League tournament, our perennial Cube League tournament. My name is Vic, and I am joined here today by Davi to stream the draft. Davi, how are you this morning?
I am very hyped for a bit of coin flip action. This is one of my favorite cubes of all time, and I was waiting for the day that this is featured on Champions Cube.
It's kind of self-explanatory, but the name of the cube does kind of give it away. Basically, each player chooses the results of their coin flips throughout the match, and I think gimmicks like this makes cubes really interesting because it allows for cards that you would never really consider to be sometimes even broken. So you get to see a lot of cool cards that don't normally get to see the spotlight.
Yeah, this cube is completely crazy. There's no good way to explain it other than you have to see it to yourself. It looks like a pretty low-powered cube if you see some of these attackers, like the Salamence from Dragon Vault and the Crobat from Hidden Legends. But it's actually one of the fastest cubes I've ever seen. Maybe the fastest cube I've ever seen. Just because the card quality goes up so much when we're talking about um, cards that you can just choose the coin flip, like Cremomatic and Capturing Aroma. They become like very high quality cards. Duo Ball and Timer Ball might be the two best cards in the whole cube, which is a wild thing to say.
Right. We were talking about Dual Ball yesterday about how it was kind of average. You could pick it up, not not stronger than Nest Ball, probably a little bit weaker than Nest Ball actually. But in this cube, that is not the case. It's a VIP pass you can play at any time, and stuff like that is makes your draft interesting. So you always have to keep that in mind when you're drafting. Always, you can't forget about this coin flip rule for sure.
No, the whole cube runs with the coin flip rule around it. So every card you read, or I guess most cards you read, they will have a coin flip, just like the Candle and the Spark in this pack. They are very bad cards. You probably don't know what they do because they were, I think, promos in the Pokemon Go set. They draw
Right.
two cards and then you flip a coin. If heads, you can accelerate one of their energy to one of your bench Pokemon. But here it's kind of like a Melanie for each of their types, which is fire, lightning, and water. Which those cards are pretty good. And we saw the first pack. We didn't see anything crazy there. Kind of a weaker pack for this cube. So we're watching Blue Draft today. Blue was a seed one this time in Cube League. He topped like every Cube League. He went well on Team Showdown. So he didn't like win any of them, but a lot of good results get you in as top seed. And this second pack is not great, but we can see some of the cards that like change the cube. Another one that I really like is the Typhlosion from Neo Genesis. Both Typhlosion from that set are pretty bad, but when you have coin flips that are always heads, they are extremely good. This one is just a fire starter, but I think it also attaches to your active Pokemon. So this card is pretty high priority.
So I think the kind of Blue is kind of thinking about it still, trying to see what to speculate into. Not many of these choices are, usually early in the draft you kind of pick unless there's a line that you really like and there's a line that you think is really broken. Typically, the guidance is to keep yourself open, right? Don't
Mm-hmm.
don't hyper specialize into cards that can't be played in every deck. So blue is probably considering that balance. But in this pack, there really aren't that many cards that apply that can be played in a lot of decks. I think the only one might be the Jirachi.
Yeah. The Lure Ball is also pretty decent in this cube. It gets three
A lure
evolutions from
ball, true.
the discard. He got a Maxis, and I'm pretty sure we saw a Maxis on pack one. So Blue's kind of hedging his bets that he can either wield a Maxi on pick one, or he can maybe contest the Maxi's archetype. Max's Hidden Ball Trick, of course, it's pretty hard to set up, but this cube has
Mm-hmm.
better setup cards for it, like Night Teleporter. You just trade the hand you have for a card in your deck. So if you have a Night Teleporter, you have Max's Hidden Ball Trick. So it's just a question of being able to discard And I'm pretty sure we have some battle compressors in this cube. So again, this cube
Yeah,
is the most consistent thing I've ever seen. So Maxie's decks, they work. They work pretty well.
they do. Yeah, there is one gimmick with this cube where there is actually two Pokemon that can only be played through Maxis, which are Claydol from Great Encounters and Machamp from Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
So these two cards are extremely powerful in the context of this cube. Claydol, for example, you might know as being infamous, a card that consistently gets taken out of cubes because it's just way too powerful and perhaps the strongest draw Pokemon ever printed in the game. So
Absolutely.
if you have access to that, that can potentially be a powerful archetype to build around. And Blue chooses to forego the Typhlosion, the fire archetype, in favor of this Maxie's package. But who knows? That Claydol might never even see Blue's pack. We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah. You can also play like kind of a fair Maxie's deck. The fighting line of this cube is Nidoqueen and Primeape. Primeape is not a great attacker. You have to have a very specific deck for it. But the Nidoqueen and Nidoking archetype is really good, actually. They are kind of the do-all archetype in the cube. Like the Nidoking from one of the E-card stats, I think maybe Aquapolis. If it's active, you just do 10 damage to your opponent's whole bench. And the fighting Nidoqueen is the one that we always the one that's always in every cube, the one from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Just a great attacker, like 1 energy,
Yep.
toxic, 3 energy, just do a whole bunch of damage based off of your evolution Pokemon in play. So Blue goes for a secret mission in that pack. It was kind of a weird pack. We haven't seen a lot of the high importance cards in this cube yet, so secret mission just a decent draw option. Also, goes well with Max's Hidden Ball Trick, so I think that was a nice pack.
That's true.
And one thing I want to talk about in this cube is that we have a new line. So for people who played this many times before, as I have, there was no executor line. And most of the attacks on these executors, they flip a lot of coins. So if you kind of translate the cards, this one is 3 energy, 30 plus, I think 10 or 20 for each energy on your opponent's Pokemon. And then it has the classic big explosion, 20 times the amount of energy in this Pokemon. So Executor is kind of like a new line, kind of untested, but the effects are pretty interesting. Like if you have acceleration, these Executors can hit like big old trucks.
So tell us the history of this cube, at least the recent history. I noticed some Pokemon that I used to see in this cube are gone, like that Shiftry. Maybe it's been a while because that Shiftry was pretty broken.
Yeah.
So now you say the Executor line is new. Has it been tested at all? Have people played around with it yet?
I'm pretty sure that we haven't played with Executor in the cube. It's a new addition. This cube was played this season. I think it was the first cube. So it was almost like a year ago.
Okay.
Crobat was the big bad of that run because of Forest of Giant Plants. You could make a turn 1 Crobat and start attacking your opponent's hand on the very first turn. The Crobat from Hidden Legends, we saw that on pack 1, pick 1, or pick 2. Just looks at your hand and discards a card. So it can be really annoying to play against a Crobat deck. They don't do a lot of damage. They kind of do, but like you have to put a ton of energy on them. But they are really annoying and take cards off your hand. The one from Skyridge or Aquapolis just looks at your hand and takes away a Pokemon. It's so annoying. It shuffles back in the deck. It's not that bad, but it can stop you in your tracks if you're trying to like combo. And if you have both Crobats, man, you don't have a hand. So Crobat was actually nerfed after that run. If you look at the cube, there are no grass Zubats. So you can't just use Force of Giant Plants turn 1. You have to like go up the chain. And oh my god, this pack is important because Blue is looking at Machamp and Battle Compressor. 2 cards that he really wants with this Max Hidden Ball Trick.
So looking at this pack, after Blue did take that Slurpuff, I mean, the Battle Compressor, I would say, is actually, in a vacuum, a little bit more important than the Machamp, because you can still get the Claydol, you can still get some fighting type Pokemon to cheat out like the Nidoqueen, the Nidoking, and you wouldn't be too upset. But one, the Machamp is really strong, and two, if you pass it up, someone else might take it, and now if someone else has that Machamp, you're fighting for the same resources, right?
Yeah.
If someone else takes that Machamp, they're going to highly pick any Max's hidden ball trick, and you might want more than one copy of that card. So I think blue is making the right choice here, taking that Machamp.
Yeah, he's also hedging the bets that everyone sees the hidden ball trick and nobody takes it because I'm pretty sure there was one on the first pack.
In pack one.
Yeah, so
Oh,
if he
really?
does wield the maxis, like he is very well set up for the maxis hidden ball trick deck.
Yeah, there's only two of them in the entire cube. So if blue can get the last one, that could make a big difference here.
Mm-hmm. We do see a new pack, and this cube is so interesting because you see a card like Pokemon Communication, and I think every
Mm-hmm.
other cube we have ever played, that card is super high priority. But this
Mm-hmm.
cube, this card is actually like one of the weaker search options because it is contesting Dual Ball and Timer Ball, which are completely nuts. It is contesting
Yes.
Pokeball and Capturing Aroma, which just search your deck for any card you want.
Right.
So this cube is so weird because like computer search, ultra ball, calm cards that like are super high priority anywhere else are not that high priority here. I mean, this pack is kind of the time where you get the calm. There are no other decent
Yeah, there's no
cards, I guess.
great cards here that combo with what you want. Something like
Mm-hmm.
Guzman and Hala could potentially grow in value depending on the draft, but right now it's hard to tell how useful that card will be.
Yeah,
And you could start picking up evolution lines like the Swablu if you're interested in line, but it is still early and there's extra copies of all the basics, so you don't need to worry about those too much.
hey Vic, do you know what card is really good with Max's hidden ball trick?
Archie's ace in the hole.
Yep. If you're set up to do one, why not do both?
Yeah, I think it's honestly a good pickup here for blue now that we have gone so deep into this line. I think yeah, if your deck is like you were saying, if your deck is able to pull off one, it can activate both, right? So I think I like this play. I like this deck. I think blue is set up to have one of the most interesting decks in the draft.
Yeah. The two targets for Archie's Ace in the Hole that are not like part of evolution lines are Swampert EX from Crystal Guardians, the one that accelerates energy from your discard, which is really good with a maxi Archie deck because you're already discarding resources. So if you want to set up a turn where you do your Swampert EX ability, like it's really easy to discard. You already have the cards to do it. And Vanillux from some black and white set that has a war point on the ability. Every turn you want, you can just activate, and you're gonna do the effect of like war point / escape rope.
What I will say about this cube is that even though it is really fast to set up because of the extreme high power of the items and trainers, there really isn't that much energy acceleration. So having something like that Swampert EX to set up your board can be super valuable.
Yeah, and it also like accelerates any type of basic energy. And I think the
Right.
attack is only one water, so it doesn't like ask too much of you. Of course, it asks you to have Archie and set up an Archie, which is not easy, but it's also like not that hard, which makes this
Yes.
archetype really interesting because you can basically play the Archie maxi deck with anything.
Right.
You don't need to play with like I don't know, a Nido Queen deck for it to be good. If you get any other line, like there are some really good stage ones in this cube, like Jolteon, Vaporeon,
Yep. Yep.
Fortress is completely nuts. You can play just anything with Archie Maxi, and I'm really interested to see what this deck is going to look like after the
I
draft is done.
basically it does seem like blue has shoehorned the draft a little bit into this sub archetype, into this little Maxie's Archie's package, but that package can really go with any Pokemon line. So in a sense, blue is still completely open to whatever gets passed around.
Mm-hmm. Another card we see here that we usually don't see in cubes is a Malamar line. Actually, blue goes for the Malamar.
Oh,
Has
going for
an
Malamar.
interesting attack, two interesting attacks. It switches a Pokemon from the bench to the active, and the new Pokemon is confused. Of course, you still need to flip for confusion and sleep, Special conditions don't count the coin flip rule. And the second attack just gets you a card from your discard to your hand while putting some pressure. It's only 1 for 30, not a lot. If you can get some more damage mods with that, like a Vitality Band, can be a bit better. But you can like do some control annoyance with that Malamar. Actually, blue takes it back.
So I think Malamar, the Malamar line is really powerful, but there is one Malamar in
Of
particular that I think
course,
is the most
yes.
important.
Yeah.
And there's only one copy of it. So that is the Contrary Malamar, which basically says whenever your opponent flips a coin during his or her turn, if Malamar is active, you have to treat it as tails, which overwrites the rule of the
Yes.
cube, the house rule, where you get to choose your coin flips. So it's not powerful against every deck, but against most decks, you are shutting off really crucial parts of their strategy. For example, people are choosing Pokeball, Dual Ball over stuff like Pokemon Communication, right? And if you shut those down, then suddenly their deck might not function anymore.
Yeah, that Malamar was the big bad of this cube for a while. Eventually, people, I think, learned to play around it. We also had the contrary shift tree. I think you remember that
Yeah,
one.
Shift Tree.
I think
Yeah,
it was in the first Cube League and then immediately removed because besides being a annoying contrary Pokemon, it was also one of the best attackers in the cube.
right.
Like it had a lot of HP, dealt a lot of damage. It had confusion on the attack, which is really good with contrary. Your opponent basically can't ever attack again. So yeah, that was removed a long time ago, but we still do have the Malamar in the cube. Only one copy, as you said. It also needs to be active to work. So, and what's the attack on that one? Maybe
It's
like
confusion.
if you have the
If you,
same amount of cards in your opponent's hand, it's
yes,
confusion. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So it's not like an amazing attacker like Shiftry was, but still like you said, sometimes you put that thing in the active, and a deck like Typhlosion or Arcanine just stops working. The deck does not function. So
well, the ability makes confusion. Basically, you can't attack, right?
yeah, yes. If you are confused and you're against a Malamar, there's nothing you can do. You need to retreat.
Unless you want to take damage and not attack.
Yeah, because the coin is always tails. You literally cannot do damage. Actually, we see this. This is the wheel pack. Maxis did not wheel, and this is not like a good sign because maybe like the Clado is gonna get taken since you already have the Machamp. But
Do we have a way to like confirm that there was a Maxis in the first
I
pack?
mean, we can
Is there...
go around in the other like.
Oh, true.
So let's go to Apsy. Take a look. Apsy does have. Oh my God, he has
Two
Crobat, Cherim,
Cherums.
Cherim. Crobat is really good if you get the necessary pieces for it. Cherim and Floette are really good cards because Floette buffs up your Crobat's HP and Cherim gets some heals and some damage mods. So really good cards. Serious Player kind of doesn't have anything specific, just taking good cards. Started with a
Right.
Pokeball. Warrior Z started with a trade Curlia and a course. That was a pretty good start, but
Yeah,
doesn't
just
have
good,
anything
good.
specific.
Right.
I guess he does have Horror, Psychic, and Executor, so that's a decent start for a deck like that. JL has a Forest, so that's one less Forest for the Crobat player, which is Apsy. Also started with a Pokeball. Really good card. Autumn Carl has a Night Teleporter. Started with a Citrus Berry, kind of probably a bad
And a
pack
late
one.
Typhlosion.
Oh yeah, he
A
has
really late Typhlosion.
yeah, that's a pretty good start for the Fire deck. Very late Typhlosion for Adam. Slight has the Maxis. He got a Maxi pick
Okay.
7. That was pretty late.
Oh my gosh. Almost wheeled, but
Yeah.
not quite.
So we're gonna see Slight and Blue fighting for the Archie Maxi. I'd say that Blue has like the upper hand. He has 2 out of 4, and he already has one of the Maxi's only Pokemon. Zach is the last player. We'll take a look. He
Doesn't really have much. Just a bunch of fair good cards, I
yeah,
guess.
and N start is usually good. This cube like N and Admin are still really good cards, but I guess no one has a timer ball or a dual wall, so I guess that's the hype for the next pack. And blue here got just an NK, a Swirlix,
Okay.
just getting some decent Pokemon. This Mew is actually decent. You attack, do 50 damage, you discard 2 energy, and you devolve your opponent's Pokemon. Kind of like a very low power attacker, but if you get the acceleration from Warring or Swampert X, you can do some good damage with that. And I guess this is a good time to like take a second look at Blue's archetypes, because let's kind of forget about Maxie's and Archie's for a second. He does have a 1-1 Slurpuff and a 1-1 Malamar, kind of like
Malamar, yeah.
a fast stage 1 type deck. Does have a Raihan as well, which is really good on an archetype like that. Fast single prizers, stage 1s that are gonna get knocked out easily.
Something interesting to note is that Slurpuff, historically, like in standard or whatnot, is like just your draw engine, but in this cube the attack is fair. It's not broken, but you can definitely use it, right?
Of course, yeah, it is a pretty decent attacker because you actually want that card to be in the active to like draw 2,
Right.
which is pretty good. Draw 2 for absolutely no cost.
Yep.
3 for 50 is not it's 50 or 60, is it?
60. It's 60.
Yeah, 60, like, very good. It 2-shots most things in the cube that aren't EXs, I'm pretty sure, or like maybe some of the overpowered Maxi Archie targets, but it actually also has like decent HP. You can usually take a hit and then retreat and keep drawing 1 card. Eventually attack again and just sack your Slurpuff. It's a pretty good card. I really like the Slurpuff in this one. And now
something that I wanted to keep an eye on were some of the other stage ones that I think are really powerful. I think they just have high HP and high damage numbers for being a stage 1, and they're obviously more accessible than the stage 2. So Jolteon, Vaporeon, Lantern, I think I really like in this cube, and those haven't showed up yet. So we'll see if they do. Oh, there's the Contrary Malamar.
Oh, Extra Receiver, another amazing card that you would usually like forget about in any other cube. Flip a Coin of Heads gets you a supporter in your deck, so also a really good card for the Marchie. Oh my god, Archie's and Maxie's deck. But this pack is completely nuts. We have good Nidoqueen, Versus Seeker, the Malamar, DRE, even Skyfield. Skyfield is an amazing card for, well, most decks if you can get like interplay Pokemon. There's a good Chatot that is just a Versus Seeker on a basic Pokemon. Bug Catcher is simply draw 4, no questions asked.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I think we can see that Blue is very hyped on the Ball Trick Ace in the Hole plan. Going for the Extra Receiver, probably the best card for this archetype. I don't know if is it better than the Malamar? Because, like, if you get 2 Malamars, and this one is, like, kind of the centerpiece of the archetype.
Yeah.
Is it better to go for the Malamar and kind of, like, set yourself up for at least a decent stage 1 deck? Or go all in into your Extra Receiver Maxie's Archie?
That's kind of what I was wondering, personally. I think the way Blue's draft turned out with the 1-1 Malamar, I think I would just kind of risk giving up that important X transceiver and hope that I can get consistency elsewhere and take this Malamar, because right now Blue's draft is, what are you attacking with, right? I guess right now all you have is Machamp and Slurpuff. So I think I would go for the Malamar in this choice. Another option that Blue had was to forego the Malamar entirely in the last pack, and if you didn't have that 1-1 line to synergize with this new Malamar, I would probably also be taking X Transceiver. But the way Blue has played it so far, yeah, I would take this Contrary Malamar.
Yeah, it also annoying to have the double rainbow together with the Malamar, because as we said, there's not a lot of acceleration in the cube, and not a lot of acceleration for like dark types because we have some random supporters that accelerate to random types, not dark. So we do see the
Oh,
contrary. Oh
Claydol and
my
Swampert
god!
EX and Night Teleporter.
Oh my god!
So
This is the
what do you even
nightmare.
choose?
It's the absolute nightmare pack. This is everything you don't want to see because you need those night teleporters to make your Archie and Maxi work. But the
Right.
targets are all here. You know that the one of your Maxis was already passed and picked. So you literally cannot pass this Claydol. But it's so bad to pass the night teleporter. Like, this Swampert probably wheels and you're fine with that. But passing night teleporters is something you cannot do in this archetype because that card is such high priority for everyone else. The card just search your deck for a Lily, for a Juniper, for anything that draws you a bunch of cards. And unfortunately, you cannot pass the Claydol. This sucks, but you cannot do it.
There are only 4 Night Teleporters in the cube, and yeah, in other cubes you might be like, oh, that Night Teleporter will wheel, because it's not that strong of a card if you have to flip for it. But in this cube, it's good even if your deck isn't a Maxi's deck, isn't an Archie's deck. So that Night Teleporter will be gone. You just have to say goodbye to it and cut your losses. But you know the Maxi's wheeled. Sorry, the Maxis didn't wheel. You know someone has it. So might as well take this Claydol, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless the only way you could argue passing the Claydol is saying, hey, like I'm okay with Machamp being my only like Maxi's target. If you want to build your deck around that, that could be a potential way.
Yeah, you could take the Night Teleporter and then wield a Swampert. That still like sets you up pretty decently. But it's probably wrong to pass the Claydol. It is the best draw engine of all time in the game.
Right.
So the only awkward thing you have now is you only have one Maxis and 2 targets. You'd probably get a Versus Seeker, a Paw Pad, something, some other way to reuse the Maxi, but it is kind of awkward to... Sometimes you have to choose, like, do I want to have a strong attacker that I can use a bunch of times? Machamp does 1 for 70 if one of your Pokemon was knocked out, so even better on a fast stage 1 deck. Or do I just Kaleido every turn and set up the rest of the game? It's quite a weird choice. And, I guess fortunately, unfortunately, that pack was that way. We have the Kaleido, and now we are picking a Lantern from one of, I think, the Unified Mind, maybe?
From Cosmic Eclipse, it seems.
Cosmic Eclipse, okay. This Lantern is kind of weird. It's, like, a pretty decent attacker. 2 for 50 is, like, not bad. Lets you see your opponent's top deck on the ability. Kind of like there are a few archetypes that can mess with your opponent's top deck. Oh my god, insta picks the Warring. Interesting.
The Lantern is really tanky, but I really like that Jolteon so much, and I'm surprised that Blue didn't take it. The first attack is if you guarantee the head, that's 1 for 40.
A colorless, it's really good. The second attack is 2 for 50, and you spread 10 if you evolve this turn. It's a really good attacker, the Jolteon. I think Blue maybe likes the 110 HP on Lantern, 2 for 50. Kind of like an overstated card for the era that we
It does have a lot of HP. Yep.
I'm really surprised about this insta-pick of Warring. I tend to not think about Archies in like the normal quote-unquote deck in the cube for water and fighting as like the same thing, but Blue disagrees. He really wants to play a Roaring deck with Archie and Maxi.
I'm not a huge fan of the Warren line, but maybe Blue can prove me wrong here. But that being said, this is a later Walrein, which does maybe indicate that the line is open, which you can take advantage of course. And on top of that, this pack doesn't really have anything that great going for it. There was a Tate and Liza that's okay. So I don't blame Blue going and speculating into this Walrein line.
Oh yeah, one thing we haven't talked about at all. There's like a third kind of Archie and Maxi line in this cube, which is Altaria. There's an Altaria from, I don't know the set, that just searches your deck for...
Crimson Invasion.
Crimson Invasion, one of the worst sets of all time. It just searches your deck for a dragon and puts it into play on a single colorless.
On a coin flip,
Yeah, on a coin flip, of course. The
technically.
card sucks, but in this cube, it's amazing. And I think it won the coin flip cube league this time, um, or maybe it was second. No, I think it won. I think Ben Grove won the league with that. We do see one of the targets for it in this Garchomp from Dragons Exalted. Just like a 3/480, you can't retreat, has retreat, basically doesn't have a weakness, has a lot of HP. Just overstated card for the Altaria archetype.
Yeah.
If anyone is in that, and we haven't seen, I think, any Altarias, people can start taking the Garchomp to set up for that archetype.
We do see Zinnia's Resolve being taken here. Just not bad supporter.
Also sets you up for Archie and Maxi like decently well. And he
I actually like
output.
Super Rod in this cube. It's okay. It's worse rescue stretcher, right? It's Pokemon Rescue essentially.
Yeah, it's just a Pokemon rescue. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, here we see the Altaria. I think it's too late, right? You already?
I think Blue has already seen Garchomp pass, and I think there was another dragon. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I'm
completely.
also not sure. But I think that the Altaria and the Archie Maxi package is too much. It's going to be like one of the most bricky decks I've ever seen. You have a lot of evolution Pokemon you can't even use. And he goes for the Chrono EX. He already has the Warring, he has the Archie, so I think he's setting up for a mainly water deck here. Articuno EX, of course, when you play, you can move it up to the active, so it can be a pretty decent option for a switch. And also a good card to follow up a Swampert EX turn. If you Swampert EX, your turn ends, you accelerate a bunch of energy. Maybe if your active gets damaged and you don't want to attack with it, you can just use Articuno and move the energies to it. It's a pretty decent card, not like super high priority, but like this is pick 6, so I think probably a good time to take it.
The attack on the Swampert EX is so good, and
Yes.
I think Blue is really hoping that it wheels back.
Oh yeah, of course, Swampert is already in this pack, so Blue probably setting up for a wheel of that one, and of course in the Night Teleporter pack. Probably gets a decent water fighting deck here. This one, we do have Rare Candy if he wants to play mainly Warring. We have Stadium Nav, just guarantees you a stadium of your choice. I think the stadiums in this cube, they are just like fine. I think the best one is probably Mesa Goza, because it's always heads. But also gives your opponent like a Pokemon every turn, kind of an awkward card.
There are some interesting ones like Thunder Mountain.
Oh yeah,
Forest
Thunder
of
Mountain.
Giant Plants, Dimension Valley. Yeah, there are some really interesting ones, but right now Blue doesn't have any. I think I honestly don't mind just taking Palmer's contribution, and just so you don't have to worry about ever having to pick recovery in the future.
Yeah, it's kind of like weak recovery, but I do agree with that. It is. Maybe you accept.
Taking this field makes sense too, of course.
Yeah, he only has a 101 line for now. I do remember a Celio in this pack at some point, and it wasn't on the Night Teleporter. So he's probably looking out to cut the Warring line from the other players. Sometimes you want to pick those cards, not because you want them, but because you don't want anyone else to think that the line is open. Oh my god, Compressor Wheeled. Nice.
Compressor Wheeled, but this is... Oh, this is not yet the Swampert pack, right?
Yeah, this was the Archie... Was this Archie? I think it was, right? Pack 2, Pack 1 was Extra Receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Extra Receiver and Compressor pack. You got both, which is pretty good in this archetype. Compressor doesn't like play with every deck, and Extra Receiver kind of does. So I think Blue made a very well thought pick and got rewarded.
So we're taking the Battle Compressor here. We have that feel from last pack. Does the Swampert wheel is the big question, and I mean, that pack one was really strong. There were a lot of cards that were really good, but
Hmm.
were there eight that people would pick over speculating into the Swampert? That I'm
Yeah,
not sure about.
we're gonna find that out right now as the pack is passing. Is the Swampert EX still in here? If it is, this is a huge win for blue. That card, I think we are understating how good that card is. The attack is really good. The ability is really good.
No, it didn't wheel.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. This is the wheel. I'm sorry. This is the wheel, right? Because the first pack was the one with Malamar.
So which one had Swampert EX?
Pack two, pick two. So yeah, we just
Oh, pack
miscounted because
two?
yeah, this is pick nine. Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
yesterday we had 7 players. Today we have 8. So yeah, there is an extra pack
Okay.
to think about.
So it'll be the next pack?
Yeah, he kind of forgoes the Malamar. I think this is fine to forgo the Malamar now. Uh, Maybe in the beginning of the pack it was probably better to keep yourself open, but right now I think the water is your direction. So now is the truth about Swampert. Is it still here?
Oh, it
Yes.
is.
Save
Blue is so
insta
happy right now, for sure. Yeah. Instapick that Swampert EX. I'm surprised the last pack had some interesting signifiers. That Malamar still being alive is really interesting. I guess people don't think the disruption aspect is that powerful anymore in this cube. I think it's an interesting card for sure, and can shut down a lot of decks, but the drafters leaning heavily into their lines decided they don't need it. The Flame Dash Arcanine was still in that last pack too, which I think goes with someone drafted the Typhlosion late, and I don't remember who it was, but it goes pretty well with Typhlosion.
Yeah, the fire archetype is very like closed, I would say, in this cube. The cards are very synergistic with each other. There's a Typhlosion that accelerates 4 energy upon evolving to itself, and that Arcanine is a really good way to abuse it because um, the attack of that Typhlosion is kind of sus. You don't really want to use it every time, every game. So
Yeah.
that Arcanine just gets into play and pulls the energy to itself. A really good way to abuse that specific Typhlosion, and just like 4 for 120. It is just 120 is killing every single prize stage 1 that wasn't cheated into play. So like the Needle Queens and the Crobats. The only things that it misses are like the Garchomps and Machamps of the cube. So just a really good attacker. And yeah, probably the fire player taking a bet, seeing if the rest of the table is not on fire, and that Arcanine is a pretty good sign. Yeah, it's a really good sign for if the archetype is open or not.
So in the first two packs, Blue has already acquired 3 out of the 4. What's the word?
Targets for Archie and Max.
Yeah, three out of the 4 targets for Archies and Maxies, which is surprising that even 3 out of the 4 showed up in the first two packs.
Yes.
Not even speaking to the fact that Blue got all 3 of them. That part is surprising as well. But so I like Blue's draft so far, and Blue is poised to be one of the most interesting decks in the league. But the consistency is not quite there yet, unfortunately for Blue.
Yeah, he does have a lot of picks left, so it will be time to get those Pokeballs, Timer Balls, Dual Balls,
Yep.
even some of the less important cards, I would say, in this cube. I'm talking about Ultra Ball and Communication, who does have one. There's a lot of good, like, just generic supporters in this cube, like Birch's Observations, just shuffle, draw 7. Bug Catcher, just straight up draw 4. We have Candela is a card that Blue probably looks for. Accelerates the water energy and draws 2. So there's still a lot of cards that Blue is probably looking out for. The rest of the
Definitely
Warring
needs
line.
Night Teleporters.
Oh yeah, Night
For
Teleporter.
sure.
I think might be the single most important card because you can probably wield the second Archie, and even if you don't, you probably prefer
fine.
having a Night Teleporter instead of
Yeah, I think so too.
And the other target for Archie is not even that good, I would say. Like Escape Rope every turn is fine, it's okay. But if I had to guess, Blue probably wants to Archie's the well, first the Swampert, just a really good card, and second some big warrings. The
Yep.
lines are pretty decent. So we have acceleration, we have trainer lock, we have a lot of stuff. And here is a new pack, and it's pretty
Some
good.
good supporters in here, and I think blue has to take them because blue supporter line is looking pretty weak right now. I mean, of course, those Maxies and Archies are good for separate reasons, but not much consistency for blue. So probably will take the N, I'd imagine.
Either the N of the or the Juniper. Juniper does have some upside because you can discard
That's true.
the targets. I think N might be a better card just because like everyone lost to an N or an admin or an Iono in cube at some point.
Right.
And the card is still shuffle draw 6 at the beginning of the game. Still can stop like an Alolan Vulpix or a similar card from setting up a hand. Maybe blue prefers the discard synergies, but seeing a Juniper and N side by side like this is just so depressive. Like you have to pass one of them. It's so sad.
I like N personally, but I can see the argument either way.
Yeah.
I think blue is really hoping to see. I think even one night teleporter is really important to make this deck work. Blue currently has none. If you have one, you can kind of enable it with order pad or computer search and whatnot. So finding that one will be really massive. We'll have to keep an eye on if blue finds it or not.
I something makes me think that blue has played this archetype before. I'm gonna check on the second cube league, the one that was in this cycle, to see what blue played. Blue has played. Well, I think he hasn't played. He played yeah, he played this deck already. Actually, he played
Interesting.
a Maxis Warring deck, but it was really strangely built. It is one Maxi, one Clado, has a few evolutions, has a 2-2-1 Warring line and 2-2 Malamar line. He got top something at this league. We can check that. Thank
Sounds
you.
like blue is looking to repeat previous success because it's everything seems quite similar to what you just said.
Yeah, it is quite wacky. Like if you look at this list, it's quite weird. There are a few other cards that are pretty good in this archetype, like Order Pad. Sets
Right.
you up for like extra receivers and maybe night teleporters if you do have them.
Yeah, night teleporter can
yeah.
get battle compressor if you need battle compressor.
Blue is 3-2, went to the top 8 and then lost 2.
I mean, that result isn't amazing, so I'm surprised that blue is so into this archetype, but you know, maybe blue felt like their archetype was good, just the draft wasn't good enough. And in this
Yeah.
case, blue did get a lot of signals that he could go for it. I mean, first two packs acquired that Claydol Swampert Machamp combo, so there's a chance that blue can make it work this time. Taking the Cynthia now to round out that consistency makes sense. Now we're really looking for items.
I don't know if I like passing the Delcatty. That Delcatty can set the top of your deck with energy. And we do have a Crush Draw Oring on the cube. And that card, I think, is an insta-pick for blue. He already plays the Oring archetype, and having any way to accelerate energy in this cube is so good. So, and just generally, that Delcatty is a stupid good attacker. It can do 1 for 100. No, 1 for 80 on the right circumstances if you set the power circulation power heal combo for a few turns. So that card is just really good. I'm surprised that blue passed it. It does pick a Cynthia, which like is a really good card. I don't fault him for doing that. But maybe he doesn't care too much about the power circ. Maybe he wants to take the second copy, sees if maybe checks if Delcatty wheels.
To be fair, for blue, there is only one Crush Draw Walrein, I believe, which makes it a little bit difficult to combo. We're not sure that blue is going to get it. Plus, there's two power circulation Celios in the cube, so you can kind of rely on those instead if you find them. And then we also already have the Swampert, so if blue doesn't find any of those, you can always rely on the Swampert as your main form of energy
Mm-hmm.
acceleration.
That Warring right there is I think the only custom card in this cube. Because I don't remember what the original card does. It's a Warring from Mysterious Treasures. Probably had like a stupid power. This one is when you evolve, you flip 2 coins. If both are heads, you just discard the defending Pokemon. You don't knock it out. You just like discard it, and then your turn ends. I think that might be
Yeah, I think
the
that's the only change between the real card and this one.
yeah, because of course that power is completely nuts if it doesn't end your turn. If it does, like it's still pretty good. The attack is also fine. 3 for 70 if you don't discard a card, your Pokemon is paralyzed. Like pretty annoying attack. Has a bunch of HP as well. And again, it might be more important to cut the line than to actually play with the Warring. You do pass like a Clara, which is the more I play with Clara, the more I think it is the best recovery card ever. But you're cutting the line pretty efficiently, and wow, another
Another
Warring.
Walrein.
The line is just very open.
Yeah, this Walrein's ability is quite powerful as well in a cube that has so many high power trainers like this one. So I imagine we see blue pick it up. I think I do like blue's draft of going for those Maxis and Archie's combos. I think if I were playing blue's draft, I would have probably drafted similarly in that aspect, but I
Mm-hmm.
probably would have not taken the Walrein line so heavily. So we'll see if how that turns out for blue if it ends up being as powerful as he's hoping.
Yeah, it's very interesting how like the first 2 packs were very focused around the Archie Maxi, and this after that it's just like kind of a normal draft of Warring. They do synergize like decently, so I do want to see how this deck turns out. This pack was pretty normal. He got Cynthia, he got some evolutions, got a good item in pack one, pack three, pick one, if I not mistaken. No, I was thinking about something else. Do you see a floats on a Faba and a bunch of evolving Pokemon? Two Nidorinas and a Nidoran in this pack? Ugh, ugly.
Oh, something interesting is this Manaphy. I actually really like this Manaphy. Reading it
Oh,
in this
yeah.
cube. So the Manaphy has an attack that says flip 3 coins for each head, attach a water energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. Obviously, not a very good attack in a real cube, but in a normal cube, but in this cube where your coin flips are chosen by you, you can accelerate 3 water energy, and seems pretty good given Blue's focus on the Walrein right now.
Yeah, and not just that. When it gets knocked out, you just search your deck for a card. So,
Yep.
just a really good card. You can transform 1 energy on Manaphy into 3 energy into your board. And your opponent really doesn't want to knock the Manaphy out. But most of the
In
times, they don't
theory,
really have a choice, right?
yep. In theory, you can accelerate 3, and then your opponent knocks this out. And if blue gets to draft a night teleporter at some point, you can find your night teleporter and activate your Archies or Maxis that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the pick of the Manaphy, but instead going for the float stone or thinking about switching last minute, maybe reading the Manaphy a little bit more before, because it's a card that you would gloss over normally, but in this case, I think it makes a lot of sense with Blue's draft.
Yeah, I really like that Manaphy. That card is really good. Like, passing a Floatstone kind of sucks. You do have a Clado. It's pretty fat. You do want to wait
Yep.
to retreat if it ever gets gusted. But, like, that Manaphy is just such a good card. It doesn't wheel just because of the number of the cards in the pack, I'm pretty sure. And that pack was just, like, evolving basic galore. So I'm pretty sure that won't wheel anyway. I think the Manaphy is very defensible. This is one pack here. We're kind of like seeing the rest of the pack. So do you want to take a quick look around the table?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so first we're gonna see Apsy. Apsy has, after getting a few Crobats, he does have a third Cherim, a Lipard. There's a funny Lipard kind of deck in this cube. Dark Executor. He's probably looking out for a bunch of different attackers with like Cherim as his main line. He already has 3.
Wait, there's a Manaphy in this pack. Did it break? Or did blue switch?
Oh my god,
Or are we
maybe
looking-
blue. Wait, yeah, let's confirm this. I think blue changed at the.
The floatstone. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
floatstone.
he might like have changed at the last second, and the pack like didn't give him the card. Interestingly, here in this one pack, we have another target for Maxi on the Neo King. I think blue passes this one. He already has 2 pretty good ones. And
Yeah, Machamp and Claydol are definitely better than this one.
okay, we'll go to Mysterious Player now. He didn't have a DAC really before, so right now he did get the Altaria. Did he get the Garchomp?
No, this is the supporter Altaria.
Oh yeah, the ones that sets up the top. Okay, so he has a few Nidoran. Doesn't really have anything going for now. Probably waiting to see if he opens a.
Yeah, just strong trainers overall. No strong.
Yeah, he does have like
Pokemon.
Iono and Clara to judge. That's pretty good. Juniper. That's actually really good. Next player.
This Arceus is pretty solid.
Yeah,
It's
the
like a
Dark
side
Arc.
attacker.
Yeah. It's a really good attacker. Warrior Z. Here we go. We have Salamence, Garchomp, but I think he might have tried to wield the Altaria and failed. Because I don't see any.
So there is the Malamar, but there is no Altaria. There's a Swablu that has been unchecked off. So I think Warriors is thinking about that Dragon line, but currently can't play it yet.
Yeah.
Unless that Altaria
There are
comes back.
3 of them, I'm pretty sure, so it's probable that he gets it later. We see here, this is JL.
Oh, JL's speculating into Crobat because got that early forest of giant plants, pack 1, pick 4. But yeah, maybe doesn't know that a lot of those Crobats are gone now.
Yeah, I think maybe 2 of the Crobats were opened, and then they are in different players.
Crobat and Cherims are gone. Also, is a little bit concerning for JL. We'll see how JL can navigate it and pivot this draft to something else.
Yeah, Adam Carl. I think I found our Fire Drafter. He does have,
Typhlosion,
yeah, Blaine's Moltres is a
doesn't-
pretty decent attacker for the archetype.
but
as
no
well.
Arcanine, I think.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have an Arcanine. Interesting. Oh, that's awkward, right? You really want to play those 2 cards together. Slight.
Slight's going for a stage 1 mishmash, it seems like. Jolteon, Vaporeon, Forretress with bodybuilding dumbbells, and I really like
Yeah.
this draft. I think that's an archetype that I was really eyeing myself when I was looking at the Pokemon that were available.
And he has pretty good trainers as well. He has a Cram and a Night Teleporter, so he can search out this deck pretty well. And yeah, this archetype is super good. It's like a spread, really fast spread archetype. Zach. What does Zach have? I don't know what Zach has. Liepard?
There is one Jolteon, which you will probably play. I just think 1 for 40 is pretty good
Yeah.
regardless. What else is in here?
We have a Liepard
Yeah,
and
there's
3
3
Purloins.
Purloins.
Yeah.
So you're going to use that Liepard for sure, but what do you use it with? Interestingly enough, the Liepard is really cool with the assist attack. There's 3 assist attack Liepards for 3 energy. Flip a coin of heads, choose one of your bench Pokemon's attack, and use it as this attack. So you can get some really strong attacks out there, but you need the strong attack on your bench to get that value out of assist. And I don't know yet.
Currently, he has a Nidoqueen, which does, I think, 3 for 90 is fine. Reggie Ice EX can be an annoying attacker for your opponent. He has a Weezing. The Great Encounters Weezing is extremely good. Also has a Fortress, so we are splitting those stage 1s really well in this run. We're not going to see a full every stage 1 on the same line deck. Pretty sure those are going to different drafters, and it's going to be a bit of a mess. Blue in the last packs, he got a Jet Energy, Weakness Policy, Energy Restore, nothing crazy. Got a Lantern, actually, the one that keeps energy in play. But he needs 2 Lightning Energies to attack with Lantern. That's not an easy way to do it.
Yeah, there's no great way to get value out of this Lantern. Of course, you can combo with something like the Articuno EX, but it's not. There's no like super powerful combo where you can move energy every turn or something.
Yeah. What do you want to see on the 3rd pack, on the 4th pack for Blue? What do you think is the most important cards for this draft to work?
Yeah, I hate to keep saying it over and over again. I might be beating a dead horse here, but I think Night Teleporter is really key. We have 0 right now for Blue.
Yeah.
I think even just 1 makes a big difference because it enables order pad and computer search and whatnot to get you into that Archies or that Maxis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might just be the best card in his deck. Being able to set up everything and, well, no Archie,
Timer ball.
No. Yeah, we do see a timer
And
ball
dual
and
ball.
the dual ball. Oh, you hate to see it. Which of these cards is better? Is it timer ball?
I think it kind of depends on your drafts. Right now, Blue has pretty much no Pokemon search except for Pokemon communication. So I don't know. Blue's going for the timer ball. I think I would go for dual ball, but it's close.
Yeah, it's super close. This pack is actually full of good cards. We have Calm, which is like under prioritized because of timer and duel. We have Birch's Observations, Shuffle, Draw 7. Yep. Blanche is a really good card that I think Blue hopes to wheel. And a card
Blue
that
will probably wheel.
Yeah, that one is probably wheels easily. A card that we haven't talked about is that Unknown Y. Every turn, you accelerate to Psychic Energy onto Unknown. It can be used with a lot of different cards. It was the engine for Benjamin Grove to win the Cube League last time, using Unknown Y to accelerate and then Shaman to move the energy. Just an amazing card in this cube. Acceleration for free from your deck every turn.
What was Ben Grove's main attacking line?
He was playing dragons, so the attacking line was a Dragonite that like dealt 90 and then healed 30. That was super good.
So here we can go for either Slurpuff or Pokemon Collector. I think Pokemon Collectors does synergize well with your extra transceiver and your timer ball, but we also already do have 1 Slurpuff, so having that 2-2 line might be nice considering that there are only 2 in the entire cube.
Yeah, it's awkward because you do have a Clado and a Maxi, so you don't necessarily need the Jumpluff if you can set up the Clado, but it's so nice to have the 2-2 line. You know your basics are gonna wheel. You can even use them to attack and like not care if they get knocked out because you just make another one. Collector is also just very good in this pack. He goes for Viridian Forest actually.
This Viridian Forest does combo well with your deck, to be honest. With Walrein, you do need to find energies, and you don't have any stadiums yet. So it makes sense in theory, but I mean, I don't think the deck is consistent enough yet. I'm a little bit concerned if I were Blue. Yeah, I would probably take the Pokemon Collector or the Slurpuff.
Yeah, it's quite awkward, that pack. Do you see a Mallow here? Unknown Q also really good with your 1 Slurpuff. It is a 1 retreater, right? I think it is.
Yes, I believe so. Yep. It
so
is.
Yeah, just a really good card to have in this deck. This is a decent pack.
Mallow is not bad. It combos well with Claydol. Yeah. Combos well with potentially your Crush Draw if you find it.
I think he has every other Warring, right? He already has 4?
Let's see. It's like 3.
So there's a 5th Warring. Or is it only 4 in the cube?
And another Walrein we have 2 Walrein EX.
Oh yeah. And the Rising Rivals Warring he doesn't have yet. It's one where when you play it, you can just attach as many energy as you want to it. But like 3 out of 5 is already pretty good. Maybe this Mallow
Yeah,
is a good way to set up for your eventual crush draw. Like he hasn't opened it yet, but the chances of anyone taking that warring when most of them were wheeling around and people didn't care are pretty slim.
it combos well with Slurpuff and Claydol anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, going for the Judge, I think Judge is powerful as well, but it's hard to kind of get the most value out of it. I think early Judges are best, but Judge also combos well with Claydol too, so if you can get that going,
Yeah,
it
solid
might make
pick.
sense.
Pack is kind of dying down really fast here. It's a pick 4, and there are a few decent cards. Like Fuji is not bad if you want to like save one of your EXs. Psychic Control is actually a really interesting card in this cube. You use one of your opponent's items.
Oh, I think that card's really good actually. I mean, it's not like a first pick usually, but in this pack, I think I would take it.
Yeah.
Item quality in this cube is so high, it's so likely that there is a powerful item in your opponent's discard pile, maybe even something like a Night Teleporter.
Yeah, you can just
If you
use your
can't,
opponent's Night Teleporter. Yeah, all
so
trainer cards are considered items, and then WotC trainers only refer to trainers. So, depending on the cube, the Sabrina Psychic Control could use supporters as well. But in this cube, it only targets items. But it's still really good.
good,
Like still
good enough
crazy
to be
good card.
honest. Yeah.
The rest of the
I
pack
wouldn't
kinda...
take.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't take it in this pack right now, but I think the shiny Celebi is pretty cool. In the Walrein line, actually, there are some interesting things that it can do. I was looking at the Celio. There's one Celio that is 20 for 2, and you can flip a coin of heads depending upon what can attack during your opponent's next turn. And then there's also one Celio that does 30 snipe, which could come up as well,
Yeah,
but not as good as the Sabrina Psychic Control for sure.
I actually put this card in my cube, but I don't have a coin flip cube, so people actually had to flip the coin, and it was really bad.
Yeah,
We only can use this card in this one specific cube, so you better use it as you can. A few weak packs here. This is not like great. There's like a Lucas, like Energy Arc. Those cards are fine, but not great. Warpoint is also like...
I think Energy Arc is pretty good, right? It's just Professor's Letter in this
Yeah.
cube.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably take that.
This is a pretty...
Warpoint's not
energy-only
bad
deck,
either,
right?
though.
Sorry?
Warpoint's not bad either, though.
Yeah, Warpoint is the type of card you want in every deck, right? There's no deck that doesn't want this effect.
Looker's Investigation is all right if you're looking to add some more supporters, but I think right now Blue supporters line has gotten considerably stronger in the last 2 packs.
We are looking at Zinnia's Raihan, Juniper, Nessa. Oh, I don't remember that Nessa. I think he picked before he was in water. Really good recovery
Pack
card.
2, pick 9.
Yeah. Yeah, he only got into like very hardcore warring in pack 3, so very good card. I think he cuts the Karen. Karen kind of a sucky card.
Yep.
Even more in this Maxie's Archie deck. You really don't want to put those cards back into your deck.
Now that you mention it, I am curious to see if anyone is able to put together the Unknown Y deck, either with Shaman or Miss Magius. I really like I was saying, I think Energy Acceleration is a little bit light, and this cube is a little bit hard to find, so I really like Unknown Y plus random stuff. I think it's a really cool archetype.
Yeah, I mean, it is the archetype that won Cube League, so I'm pretty sure people are going to have an eye out for it. I think the best targets for that are Zack and Slight. They have fast stage 1 decks, and that Unknown is really good if your deck is fast, because if you get like a decent setup, you have 2 or 3 energies by turn, like 3 or 4 accelerated to your board. You can attack pretty well, like from that point onwards. You can just keep your attackers going. If they get knocked out, it doesn't really matter. They're small stage 1s. Just keep attacking with whatever you have. And I think the
Something
unknowns
like
were being passed to their direction. So actually, do you want to take a look at Zach and Slide to see if they have the unknown?
yeah, let's do that. I
Zach.
think something like Zach's deck has the Purloins and the
Yep.
Lipards. Did draft that unknown Y. Yep. So the Lipard I think is a powerful attacker potentially, but one you need an attack to use, and two you need energy acceleration. The attack is a little bit heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah, it's
think
3 energy.
I like this pick a lot. So now Zach is probably looking for Miss Magius to complement this unknown Y.
Yeah, Ms. Magius, Shaman. Is Shaman still in the cube?
There is one celebration win
Yeah.
shaman.
So yeah, we are looking out for that Shaman really hard. Back to blue now.
I think another attacker, quote unquote, that is surprising but unexpected is, I think, Celebi Prime from the heart
Oh
from
yeah, yeah.
HS Triumphants. If basically all the cards that we've been pointing out, almost all of them are stage 1s and stage 2s. So if you can lock those out of play and have an attacker that doesn't take any damage from them, that can be pretty powerful. So I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone picks up that Celebi Prime.
Yeah. Also a card that Ben Grove used to win the league. So yeah, he was playing a kind of a wacky 2 to 3 color deck. Made it work. I think the entire thing is in YouTube if you want to take a look. Benjamin Grove 47. I think you can find him on YouTube. He like the whole thing. Well, starting from draft preparations to the actual draft, deck building, every game of every set from round 1 until finals, it's all on YouTube. So if people want to take a look at it, yeah, he was playing like a lightning grass psychic deck with unknown Y and Celebi Prime, attacking with Dragonite from Plasma Freeze and Flygun from Primal Clash. Just a really wacky deck. We are coming to the wheels. The wheels are getting here soon. This pack hasn't like fine cards. I don't know if this is a double rainbow deck. We do have a few Yexes. That card doesn't work with them. A few supporters, but none of them are great. And now that we have the Nessa, I don't know how good is this Palmer's contribution. Roller Skater is just like, okay, it's sure. Hammer is probably playable. I don't know if you would play it, but
Yeah, I think it's hard to justify Hammer when you don't know if your opponent will have special energies or not. I think you have to have like a really low to the ground deck to have the space for stuff like that.
yeah.
And I think Blue's deck has like too much going on to justify. So just looking at the roller skater instead.
Yeah, I agree with the roller skater. Like Ace Trainer, is this an Ace Trainer deck? I don't know. Does this deck go behind on prizes? Do you have to set up for too many turns maybe and then Ace Trainer following your Archie or Maxi? We also see some pretty decent signs of Fire is not like super drafted. Burning Energy and Quilava still here. Both in the same pack. Another Psychic Control. Interesting.
I think that's just got to be the choice. Nothing else here synergizes with your deck, really.
Yeah.
So you're really hoping your opponent plays a Night Teleporter against you, I guess.
One thing about the Psychic Control is that I think the second copy is a lot worse than the first. If you have one Psychic Control and like you don't draw it on the beginning of the game, the longer the game goes, the better it gets. The more items your opponent use, the more options you have. A Psychic Control in the first turns, if your opponent doesn't use like an extra receiver or a dual ball, it's pretty bad. So I can see the second copy being cut maybe, but like the rest of the pack has literally nothing. Like you can, I guess, draft a Cherrim. That Cherrim is pretty annoying. Has resistance to water, and then your grass Pokemon take 10 less damage. So I don't know. I don't know about the second Psychic Control.
I would take it, and if you don't play it, you don't play it. But I think right now, because blue has 0 night teleporters, I think you might have to. Your deck is like so focused on this um Maxi's idea right now. You don't I think you need help from your opponents, like their computer searches or their night teleporters or their order pads. So even though it's not a great card, sure, your item quality is like so low that I think you take it anyways.
Yeah, we do see the blank being wheeled. Is it blanch? Blank?
Blanche,
Blanche?
maybe.
Sure.
If it's a French name, it's more like Blanche.
Okay, we'll go with Blanche. We do see the Blanche being wheeled. Pretty good card in this deck. Accelerates water energy from the discard to your bench. Also draws 2. I think this is the wheel. So we took something great out of this. I don't remember what was pack 4, pack 1. We have the technology.
Sorry, I'm listening to how to pronounce Blanche.
Oh, of course, it was the timer ball. The timer ball pack. This one.
In French, it's pronounced blanche, meaning white.
Go again?
So blanche.
Blanche. Okay.
Blanche. So in English, I think the English pronunciation would be blanche.
And what about the Brazilian trying to speak English pronunciation?
Yeah, that's all on you. Whatever you say is correct.
Yeah. We're calling them, sure, Blanche. Pretty good card. Do you see the Celio being taken here? How's this line looking, actually? We have forced fields already. Oh, my God. And
we're just playing Walrein.
Yeah, the Warring line is going pretty well. Celio, I think we have
you had
0.
If you had the mana V, you might not even need this like Swampert EX. I mean, you would play it anyway still, but you don't. But we don't have the mana fee, so I think we are still a little bit relying on that Swampert EX to come out.
Yeah, and like we have a 4-0-3 line right now. There are no Celios in this deck. This is the first one, and of course, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen any of the Berserk. Those are the most important ones for sure. Also, no rare candies. We saw 2, I think, but I don't think Blue got any of them. A Staryu. What are the Starmies in this cube? The Starmie line has changed a lot. It used to be the one that gets energy back from the discard and does 1 for 40. I remember that being like crazy good on the first league. I think maybe Zach won that league. This time we do only have this Cosmic Cyclone Starmie from Heart Gold Soul Silver. You bounce back a lot of water energy from your Pokemon to your hand and to your deck and do 20 times the energy, so not great. Could take a Doduo, maybe you open an Echo Draw Dodrio, but of course, Sabrina's Gaze, we're just kind of ignoring it in this pack. Pretty good. If you have a big hand, it's just a shuffle, draw a million cards.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think Slight was talking about how it's underrated sometimes.
Yeah, like a pretty good... Oh, fighting and fire are kind of ignored here. Bling's Last Stand is a card that's been in this cube since the beginning, and I think it's just terrible. It's so bad. It has to be the last card in your hand for you to draw like a few cards. Maybe you'll draw like 6, 8 cards, but it's pretty hard to set up, and you're fighting for those Night Teleporters with, well, everyone. That card is really good.
Right. Yeah, Bling's Last Stand, not that good. But the dream is you draw 12.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think there's a Skyfield in this cube. You can draw like a million.
Draw 16.
I'm pretty sure this card was never actually played, so it's pretty hard to set up the draw 16. Oh.
Energy Arc / Professor's Letter, in this case, not bad as a second to last pick. Probably fits into the deck, I would imagine.
I think he has one. Yeah, he has one already. I don't know if you need the second. But he has both of these cards already. So it legitimately doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
So is this just the Night Teleporter waiting room? Do we want anything else? Maybe the Acceleration Warring?
Yeah, that you definitely would like as well. And then, I mean, in theory, you can just give up on your your Maxis stuff if you don't find Night Teleport or computer searches or Ultra Balls or ways to enable it, right?
Yeah.
Because your wall rain line is so thick. So we'll see, though. I think Blue is definitely hoping to be able to play those cards for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna see pack 5 being opened, and this is a 6-packer, right? So this is the second to last. We do have 8 players today instead of 7 from yesterday, so the draft will be a bit smaller. Hello
Oh, there it
there!
is.
Oh my
We
god, this spec
do.
is really good. Oh my god. We have Night Teleporter Dual Ball. This is the second Dual Ball that Blue opens and passes. Versus Seeker,
Yeah.
also really good. Juniper and Blank, whatever. Absolutely great. The Drachi, amazing. This Crobat, we better keep an eye on this Crobat because this is going to break some lines. But Night Teleporter Waiting Room, we are very happy to see it.
Yeah, Blue has to take this Night Teleporter if he wants to play any of this Maxie's Archie stuff at all. Yeah, it's a shame that the dual ball is getting passed up for the second time though. Really doesn't have much basic search. No Pokemon collector, I don't think. I think we passed that up for the Viridian, right? So the basic Pokemon search right now is pretty light. That I'm a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, we passed a lot of basic search. We passed collectors and dual balls. Unfortunately, every time we saw one of those, a better card was right beside them. So it is understandable, but I hope that Blue's deck can work a bit better. Oh god, we have Azelf and capturing Roma. This pack is really good. I wonder what was in the last... Whoever opened this pack, what they opened.
There are some other important cards for other archetypes like the Altaria. Someone might be happy to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Moon Guidance is really cool as a support line, but Blue doesn't really have the space in the deck for it.
No.
So I think Blue is picking between this Aroma and the Azelf. I think because your item search is so low, I think you take the Aroma. I mean, Azelf is really good, of course, but...
We also have a swoop, actually, for the Azelf, which makes it even better. Warring.
I see. No, Blue, don't fall in the trap of having to draft every wall rain. You don't need this one.
Yeah, I think that
wheel
Warring
it.
is pretty forgettable. I agree.
Yes.
Capturing Aroma.
You don't need it. No, don't need it. Blue is listening to us. Uncheck the wall rain. Now thinking, yeah, you need your deck to function more than you need more wall rains. Like you can only play so many wall rains, right?
Yeah. And I think this one is the weaker one. Aroma is just like search your deck for any Pokemon, just an amazing card.
It's Pokeball, right? So
yeah.
It's not only is it Pokeball, it actually is playable under Contrary, so it's better than Pokeball.
Yeah. Still gets you a basic under Contrary. But he goes for Warring. He doesn't want anyone. I think he might be just looking out for the 5th Warring, the energy, the Crush Draw one. He probably has a plan of accelerating a lot of energy with that one, so he wants to absolutely cut the line. I think there's a line between cutting the line is the most important and like your deck functioning. You need like Aromas and Azelfs to make your deck function.
Order pad.
This one is really good.
Just take that order pad for your second pseudo copy of Night Teleporter.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, order pad is just good in general, crazy in general.
Yeah, it gets you any item in your deck, which in this case gets you any card in your deck because you have a Night Teleporter. Just change that hand for Maxies or Archies. Do whatever you want. Even like if you have something like a Lily or a, I don't know, Birches, order pad is like incredibly good and Night Teleporter. Just incredibly good cards to get those into your hand when you need them. And the rest of this pack is like pretty decent, right? I would say we still have like staples, Viridian, Swoop, Skyfield in the right deck is really good. Dark Golbat is really good.
I swear, Blue's gonna take this wall rain over Aroma and then not play this wall rain. If that happens, I'll be so sad.
The chances are pretty high,
I mean, in theory, the wall rain Poke Power is kind of cool. You get to attach a lot of water energy to that wall rain, but I mean, the attack isn't amazing or anything, and it is difficult to find that many energy in the first place, right, in your hand.
He
So
does have 2 energy arcs, so I guess he is well set up for that warring to be like a decent
yeah,
attacker. I think it's like the second worst because the worst one is the custom warring, just not very amazing. Like I can see some tempo plays in the late game where your opponent only has one attacker. You just discard it and like they're quite screwed. But this cube is not one where your opponent makes one threat. This cube is one where it's so high consistency where your opponent can just attack turn after turn after turn. Actually, we see a Floette and a Flabebe in this pack, and a Fortress. Like, this pack is really good. And a Shaman. That Shaman's also, like, if I'm not mistaken, it attacks and heals itself. It's 3 for 60 or 70.
yeah, 3 for 60 and heal 20.
Our Charon player probably really stoked to see that Shaman.
Yeah, not a bad attacker at all. But Ultra Ball makes sense for Blue. Needs more Pokemon Search, needs more ways to enable the Maxies with Archies, so.
Yeah, Ultra Ball just... if this was any other cube, Ultra Ball right now would be absurd. But in this cube, yeah, Ultra Ball pick 4, sure. That seems correct.
Not bad, yeah.
We still have to see Power Circs and Energy and Crush Draws. We haven't seen any, which is surprising. Oh, a card we haven't talked about at all is the Reserve Ticket. Search your deck for a card and put it on top of your deck is just a smooth over on a trainer. It's really good.
It is really good. I think it's actually underpowered compared to like Order Pad and Night Teleporter and X Transceiver, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah. You do have a Slurp Puff, so you have access to the card immediately. And like the rest of the pack kind of sucks, right? That Regice is more of a discard outlet than an attacker itself.
But honestly, Regice is not bad if you're going to lean in heavily into the
Archies.
Maxi's Archies. Yeah.
It can just discard your hand, 2 cards from your hand just to move your opponent's active. And you don't need your opponent to have a right type of active. You just Regi move, discard. It's kind of like it doesn't need to do anything. It's just a discard outlet. The power just reads discard 2 cards from your hand. I do think Reserve Ticket is like a bit better, and like Regice is pretty wheelable if you know that you have almost every Archie and Maxi.
Well, this late it's not gonna wheel, right? Because there's like 8.
Oh yeah, the number of cards in the back doesn't let that.
Yeah.
Talking about Archie and Maxi, here's the second Archie. We haven't talked about it at all. Like, one of the Maxis was taken already, but we haven't seen the second Archie at all, and here it is. It is competing with, well, not a lot.
Twins, I guess. I think Twins is not bad.
What? Wait, where are we passing? Are we passing left? If we are passing left, Zach is gonna be stoked to see the Mewtwo Delta moving the energy around from his.
Yeah, Mewtwo Delta is pretty solid for sure. Lantern, I think Slight might be able to speculate or might able to incorporate this Lantern into the stage 1 deck.
Yeah. There's also Gyarados Star, which is a funny target for Liepard. If you really want to finish off the game, if you only want to attack once and kill anything, you all-out blast, mill your whole deck, and there goes your opponent.
There is... Yeah, Liepard is really cool. There are some interesting attacks, like a Blaine's Moltres just for 90, and then you have the option to shuffle back your Liepard if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 for 90 is definitely solid.
Yeah, above rate in this cube. It's so funny to come out of, yesterday's cube where like we're doing 2 for 120 on turn 2. We're doing some GX attacks and altered creations, and now we're talking about 3 for 90 with our Gyarados Star. The cubes are completely different. Oh, okay. Blue quickly checked the Mewtwo and then unchecked.
So considering the Mewtwo now to go along with maybe like something like that Wall Rain to attach a bunch of water energies, put them in play. But I think if you're going all in the Swampert, I think the Archies is fine. I don't think you need to do any like fancy Wall Rain combos.
Yeah, if he didn't have the Night Teleporter, maybe the second Archie would be too much. He does have 2 already. There's a world where, like, we take this Archie and maybe cut the Maxi. Is that crazy? Cutting your Claydol? Just focusing on the water
probably
stuff?
should keep the Claydol, unless...
It's probably crazy, right?
Yeah, I think you keep the Claydol. I think you cut the Machamp.
Yeah, you cut the Machamp and you keep
my
Maxi
guess.
for Claydol. He's a thing. He's thinking a lot about this one. I can't see any other card between, like, Archie and Mewtwo.
I actually think Twins is not bad. I mean, Blue's deck seems a little bit slow right now. Like you set up your Wall Rain slowly, and then you set up your Claydol combo eventually.
Yeah, it is not bad. I just kind of worry about having a lot of brick supporters in hand. Like, you draw your Archie and then you draw your Maxi and draw your Twins. If you're not set up for any of them,
Sure, yeah.
you're gonna brick. I don't know about that Mewtwo, I'll be honest. I think he's overthinking things a bit too much. Like, you're already set up
It
for...
combos with Gather Ice, but that's it, I
right?
think. Yeah. And like, what are you moving your energies to?
I guess
the
the
question.
Warring EX is I think Blue hasn't seen Power Surk or Crush Draw, so he might be worried that, like, that's it for Warring. Because, like, it is weird, right? You haven't seen any of them.
But you can still all in on this, like, Swampert, right?
That's the problem.
I mean, part of the problem is Blue didn't take the Manaphy. I think that that is causing some issues right now.
Yeah. Oh, hi there.
Very late, Celio.
I mean, this is as much of an insta-pick as any other card in the Warren line. This is part of the combo with Crush Draw, of course.
Messagoza, not a bad card for the other players to pick up this late. I think, yeah, there is the downside of giving your opponent a Pokemon, but I mean, the upside is you get to get value out of the card first. So
yeah,
I think it's a decent stadium.
Yeah, yesterday I was looking at the whole cube to see if there was a Pokemon that discards a stadium when attacking, and I think there's none. It would be really good if, like, I guess the only example I have in mind is Primal Groudon EX. You use your Mesagoza.
Lugia V-Star.
Which one, sorry?
Lugia V-Star.
Oh, yeah, that one. I heard of that one. Unfortunately, that's not, like, a normal attack. It's pretty hard to find on, like, this power level. Maybe one of the dragons would have it. Like, I'm sure don't know what the Salamence... Oh, Salamence has Shred. Okay. So I'm pretty sure there's none, unfortunately. So this Mesagoza would be completely nuts. You play your stadium, search for a Pokemon, and discard the stadium immediately. That would be really good. And here's the... Sorry? Go ahead.
Blanche.
Yep. Here's the Blanche. Second Blanche, actually, I do think there are only 2. So we do have... Yeah, there are only 2 Blanche, so... We do have both of them. That's pretty good. That's a lot of acceleration right now.
I like the double Blanche. I like the Swampert idea. The Blues deck could be so good with one more Aroma and a Manaphy, but either way.
I think the Manaphy is fine. The Aroma sucked. I think the Aroma, like, passing that on, just, like, you don't need to do anything else other than be consistent, right?
True. But I do like a lot of the ideas that Blue has. I'm really excited to see if this Claydol and the Swampert EX actually come into play in the coming matches. And I think Blue definitely has one of the most interesting decks so far in the draft.
If the draft ended right now, on the end of this pack, do you think he plays Archie and Maxi, or do you think he cuts them?
You only have 64 or 65 cards in your draft pool, so you probably do have to play them just because you don't have enough cards otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take out like also I'm when I draft I always like uncheck stuff so I can see things happening
Yeah,
like live. I'm surprised that Blue has not done this.
yeah.
I guess everyone drafts a little bit differently, but I would like to see like Inkay and stuff unchecked for now or QD Fly.
Yeah, he has like
um
Mankey checked. It's
I'm
pretty
gonna go
annoying.
start unchecking Mankey for him. No, I'm not gonna do that. I think you would play it. I think you would play it, but Blue is definitely really hoping for more ways to enable this. Yeah, these supporters. You have three of them, and you only have one night teleporter, right? So
I think we
how
only
do
have
you
two
play
right
the
now,
other
right?
ones is the question. Oh, did we skip the?
Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah, we
skipped
did.
the
We
second
did, right?
Archie,
Okay.
which is like probably the main point. He passed the second Archie, and it wasn't for like a great card. It was for the Mewtwo. No, I don't remember, but it
Yeah,
wasn't for
it
like
was for Mewtwo, I think. Yeah, it was
yeah,
for Mewtwo.
which is like it shows that he probably likes the Warring deck more than the Archie deck. I think he has to play it right now. Maybe on the next pack, if he gets like 7 or 8 just like amazing cards and he needs to cut the Archie line, that might
I
happen.
think the. I think if you don't find Crush Draw, you need to play Swampert EX.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, I agree. Do you want to
And
take a
but
quick?
Swampert EX, regardless, I think is one of your better attackers anyways. So maybe you just play it regardless.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to take a quick look at the other drafters before this
Yeah,
last pack?
the
So
packs are winding down, so
yeah,
let's go ahead and do that.
Apsy currently has. Oh my God, people don't.
3 Cherim. Yeah, they're not sorting. What
They're
the
no.
heck?
Yeah, it's really annoying to when they not don't sort. He has actually 3 Crobat.
3 Crobat, 3 Cherims, it seems.
Yeah, we found the Crobat drafter, and it's not amazing. I think he does not have the forests, but
I do think Forest is less important in the Crobat archetype than it used to be
yeah,
because it got nerfed, because the Zubats aren't grass, and because the best Golbat is not grass either, right?
yeah,
It's the draw 2
the
one.
draw two, yeah.
So I think it's okay that you don't have them. I think you would want something like Rare Candy though, which there is one Rare Candy here.
Mm-hmm. There's only one Floette for now, or two maybe. We have one here. Yeah, only one Floette. The Floettes are really good in this archetype. They help your Crobat get out of ranges. Like 90 HP is not a lot, so having more of them is pretty good. Mysterious Player, he didn't have a deck last time. Does he have a deck now? 2 Nido King?
Yeah, it looks like we're going into Nido Queen, Nido King. Only 2 Nido King, but nothing really else going for
I think the other
MP
queens are
right
already
now.
gone, though.
So I think we're just playing some Nido King only deck.
We have this Bronzong is pretty good. The one from Mysterious Treasures can like attack
Yep.
your opponent's whole bench. We do have a
No,
Delcatty
no, no.
as well.
Mysterious Treasures is the Miracle Oracle.
Oh, Miracle Oracle, of course. Yeah. So like it's one of the attackers. I wouldn't like to use it, but yeah, the deck is not going great. Let's quickly take a look at every other drafter.
MP has really good items and supporters. 2 Birch's observations, but
Yeah.
no attacker.
Yeah, he focused really hard on trainers on the beginning. Warrior Z has something.
There's a Regigigas that's a decent attacker.
Vaporeon,
There's
Executor.
2 Executors. So I
I
think we're playing a bunch of mishmash stage 1s, it seems.
there's
an
a Fortress down here.
Yeah, I think the Fortress probably comes in, but the Altaria, there's no support for it. The Arcanine, no support. Lantern might come in. The Legends Awakened Lantern is not bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think the Lantern might come in. We'll see.
yeah, maybe he gets like a second Altaria and can play those dragons. Let's go back to blue for now because we are going into the last pack, and this is a really important pack. 5 or 6 and pick one. Pack 6, pick one. Because
So far, I think the drafts I like are Blues, Slights, and Zax, I think.
yeah, they seem to have like they really know what they're doing on like they picked the cards early, either the payoff or the setup, and then knew exactly what they needed after, like the unknown Ys and Mewtwo's and all. I guess Blue got the Mewtwo, so none of that for Zach.
Well, there is a
Um,
Miss Magius here, so I don't know which way we're passing, but if
um,
Zach gets that Miss Magius, that could be huge.
I think we were passing left, so yeah, that might be going to Zach. We go for Evo Instance, but there's a Versus Seeker here, and
Yeah, I
like,
think I would take the VS Seeker for sure.
yeah, that like gets your Archie and Maxi to do so much more than before. You do have, I guess technically two of the fighting targets, but probably only playing one. The Machamp is I can really see it being played. He goes for Versus Seeker. I like to see that.
Yep, makes sense to me. Or instead, we can take the third Sabrina Psychic Control.
Our early game just sucks. Like we don't set up. We never set up.
I think 2 is fine, but you're right. There is like diminishing returns, the diminishing value with the second one, and even more so with the third. So even if this Sabrina Psychic Control wheels, which it probably won't with this pack, you probably don't end up playing it.
Yeah. This pack is pretty good, actually. Like, that Arcanine just accelerates 3 energy to itself when it evolves in the active. This 3 for 70 discard all fire. It's, like, fine. A good way to accelerate energy and then move them around if you have, like, a Moltres EX or a Stark Mountain. Evo Instance, a fine card. Dark Patch is good. Next pack, we have the last target for Archie's, but that one's kind of bad, I think. Don't like it.
Yeah,
very
you don't
much.
need it. You already have Swampert EX and Walreins as targets, so you don't need this one.
Yeah, we do see an
It's
Aqua
not.
Patch.
Yeah, I'll probably just take Aqua Patch, and then that way you don't have to worry about your Energy Excel very much. You have the 2 Blanche and then the Aqua Patch. I think you're chilling on that front.
Yeah, agreed. We see Artisan and Mesa Goza. I don't like neither of those cards, actually. I hate, like, playing a card that helps my opponent. Like, I don't want my, like, when you play, like, a Brooklet Hill and your opponent can use it to get, like, a Remoraid, it just sucks. Like, oh, I just gave them Search. And here it's like, both of these cards are extremely generic. There's no way your opponent doesn't use them. So, I don't love those types of cards.
They're definitely worse than something like Pokeball, of course, but they have some uses.
I
In
guess
this,
if you
you
don't have
can
any
bump
Search.
some important stadiums potentially.
Yeah, I guess it transforms you like your Guzma Hala into Pokemon Search, which is not like
Yep.
a bad thing. I don't know. I think I'm probably like lower on them than everyone else. I've seen too many people playing Mesagoza flipping tails and then your opponent flipping heads and setting up.
Not in this cube though.
Yeah, not in this cube.
Everyone flips heads.
Which might be worse. I don't know if that's worse. No, it's probably better. The rest of the pack kind of sucks, right? We've seen a lot of Karina, and like the fighting archetype in this cube is so weird because it is like Nido Kings and Nido Queens, but none of the evolving cards from Nido King and Nido Queen are fighting. So your Karina actually doesn't search a lot out of the line. And we also have like a Psychic Nido Queen, a Grass Nido Queen. So Karina is kind of awkward. It only searches like a few of your evolutions. Of course, it searches
Yeah.
items, and items in this cube are freaking broken. So
Corina is really not bad though in Blue's deck. Maybe it's okay. I
guess it is. Yeah, it is playable. It is
Just
not
searching an
the worst.
item. Oh, there's Crush Draw.
Hello,
So we're gonna
Crush
take
Draw.
that. And a bunch of Pokemon. This pack has so many Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, there are some pretty decent ones. That Doug Trio, I think, is really underrated. When your opponent retreats, it takes 2 damage counters and then has like some annoying attacks. For like the stage 1 decks, I think that card is pretty decent. If you're playing like Rainbow Energies, I think you can easily use that one to attack. Has a nice resistance, has 90 HP, has retreat. Just think that card is like solid. And usually
There might be
fighting hits a lot of weaknesses, right?
There might be an underexplored archetype with the one Primeape, the Wump Primeape. If you flip a coin of heads, defending Pokemon can't attack during your opponent's next turn. I think that could be pretty cool potentially, and then you use the Duck Trios to force them to use the Primeape to force them to retreat, and then use the Duck Trio to punish that retreat. Not gonna happen this draft. These Primeape and Duck Trios are just gonna be fodder.
Yeah.
But a cool idea in theory. Something I noticed in the last pack, by the way, that I didn't get to mention was there was the one Moonstone Clefairy, which has that Moonstone attached to it, which means you can evolve it during the turn you play it. So there is a combo there with the Moonstone Clefairy evolve into that Clefable with Moon Guidance, and then suddenly you can evolve your Pokemon up really quickly every single turn after that.
True.
Kind of
Yeah,
a neat combo.
that Clefable, like, it lets you break evolution rules. So, like, let's say I have a Sue in play. Next turn, I just evolve from my hand into a Celio, and then I use Clefable. That's, like, kind of a
Yep.
rare candy. And you can do that once per turn, every turn. So that card is pretty good to, like, play in, I don't know, quick stage 1 decks, maybe. An attacker that you can charge up in, like, one attachment or two. To like keep your attackers flowing. So yeah, that Clefairy actually really good.
Taking Crush Draw, and here we go with the next pick. There is a Shaman, the Celebration Wind. There's Curse Stone. There's Counter Catcher.
Counter Catcher. I really like this Counter Catcher actually.
Yep.
We don't have Gus here, and like Blue, you have every Warring, even the ones you shouldn't have. You do have them. So the Celio wheels pretty easily. Do we have what, 3 Celio now? We have 2 Celio, which is not great. Like, probably we have a rare candy, right? Didn't we take the rare candy? Yeah, we did. Okay, we did take the rare candy. I don't know. I really like this Counter Catcher.
There's only. That's true. There's only 2 Celio, which is a little bit scary. I think.
Like,
it's debatable for sure, but yes, having even one copy of Conditional Gust in your deck makes your deck so much more powerful.
Yeah, POW and Counter Catcher are the more I play Cube, the better they look. You can set up so many, like, setup with Cleffa for a few turns and then Counter Catcher or POW your opponent and kill their most important target and like just take the game from there, or just like in general set up a few turns of spread Counter Catcher. It's such a good card. But yeah, I think if someone like just randomly like, oh, I have nothing I want in this pack, I'll just take the Celio, you are screwed because you only have 2. That's probably not a good place to be. So I don't fault Blue for the Celio. We do know that the Power Circle, as I talk about him,
there we go.
There's another Power Circle out there because no one is taking them. And like we are very well set up now. We have 2 Power Circles, a Crush Draw, 4, 3,
yeah,
4.
Blue
No,
will
4, 4, 4,
probably
right?
playing. Yeah, Blue will probably be playing 4-4-4 line. I mean, right now, Blue has access to 5 Walreins. Probably will cut one, I imagine.
Yeah. We could be playing 5 Feels and like 5-4-5 if this one's Feel wheels. Oh my god, the Togepi is here. This Togepi is actually crazy. It's a 2 energy metronome, like the Clefable Evode. It only has 40 HP, but like 2 energy, copy, and attack. It's really good. Probably goes to Zachary's Light. It's really good.
Yeah, definitely a good attacker and in a low to the ground deck that has some form of energy acceleration, maybe like Zach's.
Yeah, I really like the Togepi here. Rest of the pack kind of sucks. Roller Skater, one of those like low priority supporters that you put in the cube exactly for this reason, to be like the desperation supporter that people need to like just close off their numbers, or even to like set up the discard for something like a Typhlosion.
Blue has really strong Pokemon line. I mean, basically uncontested with all 5 Walreins, 2 Power Star Celios. And I think is one of the stronger decks in the draft, but I am still a little bit concerned about the consistency angle. I mean, the deck is pretty consistent, but by the standards of this cube, it's not the best. People like MP have been taking up a lot of the trainers, like those 2 Professor Birch's observations. So we'll see if the deck is as functional as they would hope.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed when we were looking at the other players is we either have a deck that has really good Pokemon but not great trainers like this one, or a deck that has amazing trainers but like the Pokemon are kind of lacking. So we don't have like a deck that has everything. Like all of my whole line is one of the best lines in the cube. Um, but
I think Slight and Zach might have achieved both, but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
I think I really and I think the power part of the power of the stage one archetype, like Zach's Lipard and Slight's stage one box with the Jolteon, Vaporeon, Forretress, maybe Lanterns. Part of the appeal of it is that you don't have to draft high priority Pokemon high priority, so you can focus your early picks on those important items and supporters, and then wheel the stage ones after.
mm-hmm.
Plus, you don't have to use your draft picks in general on just Pokemon because, like for example, Blue, out of his 75 cards, about 15 of those are Spheals, Stelios, and Walreins,
Yeah.
right? So for Slight, you don't have to draft as many Pokemon specifically, and I think that is kind of the key to having a deck that has both good Pokemon and good items and
Mm-hmm.
good trainers.
Yeah, maybe the ceiling of the deck is not as high, but like you can just win on card
Yes, that's
quality
true.
alone.
Yep.
That is a decent angle of attack with those stage ones. We see Blue here going from Gladion to Bucks from Gladion trading one for one. I guess probably finishing choosing the Gladion.
Yeah, I like Lation here
I
for
like
sure.
both. Honestly, both cards are pretty good. Dude, these double rainbows are wheeling around. Nobody's taking the double rainbows. I am sure that like they're going to Zack and Slight, or to like dedicated stage one boxy archetype. The darkness energy also really good. If I was playing Lipard, is one of the ways of
Right.
buffing up your damage
Yeah, that sounds really good.
for those. Seeker is also like not bad depending on the deck you have. Like we've seen a lot of Seeker donks. Like, oh yeah, I can kill you with this and then kill you with that later. Then you Seeker and kill your opponent immediately. I don't think Blue plays this one, so we do see a Lure Ball.
Ball,
Lure Ball is
not
fine, right?
bad. Yep, I would probably take it as well in this situation.
Yeah, don't need the Dodrio. I don't think you need the second candy. Probably a bit of a brick.
Yeah, one candy is probably good in the deck.
That Unknown D is a funny card. There used to be a top drop archetype. It's Primeape that flips your opponent's top deck, and then you do the damage equal to the Pokemon's HP. So All made a lot of cards in this cube. Look at your opponent's top deck, uh, shuffle your opponent's deck, draw your opponent's like top card in order for you to like try to get a Pokemon there, and then you top drop for like 70, 80, 90, even more. Can even like top drop for 160 if you get like a Typhlosion EX. That archetype is in the cube for like over 4 years, and I've never seen anyone that's not I'll play it. So it's pretty wacky, and every time he plays it, it's like just fine. It doesn't really get far. Currently, we only have one top drop Primeape in the cube, so I guess it's technically possible for you to keep dropping the top, but it's pretty hard to make it work. That's the reason for that Lantern that looks at your opponent's top deck to be in the cube.
So overall, Sadian's Resolve is a not bad supporter to have in your pool, and if you need more supporters, but Blue already does have one, which yeah makes the second Sadian's a little bit awkward.
Do we play the fifth Spheal, maybe? 5-4-5? Is that too much?
5-4-5 with rare candy. I mean, you could, but I don't know if you have room for all your other shenanigans if you do that.
That's true. I mean, they are like decent discard fodder because you don't really care about the Spheals if you discard like one or two. If you have
Yeah, maybe because Blue doesn't have Collector or Dual Ball, you might just want to play the fifth copy just to have a draw out to it.
Better odds of starting with Spheal or opening your hand with two. That's true. And like, do you need Super Rod? Maybe you do need a Super Rod to like recycle your best attacker in the matchup. But
right now we have Nessa, Lurball.
Oh, we have Lurball. We're
Brox.
Okay, we're so fine.
So I would probably take the fifth Spheal just as a pseudo like Nest Ball.
Mm-hmm. But we are thinking a bit. Maybe going through the sporters, seeing if like Oh my god, I have no consistency. I actually need the Zinnias because remember we got like a Karen early. We do have like Brock's Grit. Some of these cards are not like great,
Roller Skater,
like
Tate and
Gladion and
Liza.
yeah, even Maxis and Archies can be very harsh bricks at the start of the game
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have a hand for them. I would bet that Blue was like thinking over: do I need the Zinnia? Do I want the fifth Sphere? Even like checking the rules. Can you even play a fifth Sphere? Answer: yes, you can.
Can we jump to some other people real
I
quick?
guess we
Like this,
can. Do you want to go to
Zach and
Zax
Slight.
and start from the
Yeah,
end this time?
yeah. I'm a little bit curious.
Okay, Zack has Lipards, Arcanine, Jolteon, Fortress, 2 unknown Y? Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Is it the Miss
Weezing,
Magius?
um, Miss
One Miss
Driven,
Magius. Yep,
one.
yep, yep. I see the Miss Magius. I really like. Oh, and there's two Dimension Valley too.
Oh my god. Yeah, so we haven't talked about Weezing at all. Weezing is really good in this deck. It is a 2 energy, like, your opponent is poisoned, and then if Weezing is in play, poison deals like either 30 or 20. That's a
There's
lot
one
of
more,
pressure.
one more. So 50 for two, and they're poisoned and confused.
Yeah, that's like a lot. That's not easy to get out of. And if you can like set up the Weezing many, many, many times, and you can because you have Unknown and Mismagius, even start
And something
attacking
like
like Fortress and Jolteon, I think that this is like a contender for winning the thing.
the Arcanine is also really cool because you can use Lipard to do 120 damage, which knocks out almost anything.
Yeah, true.
I think that is an awesome combo. So I really like the Pokemon that Zach has drafted, but taking a look at the items, we see two Double Gust, which is can be extremely
Wow.
powerful if your deck can support it. It has to be able to support it though, for sure.
Yeah, has a
Um,
Vote
level
Stone for it.
level balls, Pokeballs. The supporters are kind of
Yeah,
sketchy,
it kind
I
of sucks,
think.
doesn't it?
Yeah, the supporters are not great. There is a timer ball though, which helps for sure.
And a Dual Ball,
But
right?
the,
Yeah,
and a dual ball.
one of
But
each.
so the items are not bad. Two level ball, Pokeball, dual ball, timer ball. The items are really good actually, but the supporters are a little bit concerning.
Yeah, we're using Ilima here, and like your opponent can choose their own Ilima, so like it's basically your both players draw 6, which is not great. You
Yep,
don't really want to refresh your
yep.
opponent's hand for them, but
But
yeah,
maybe your Pokemon quality is so high that it's like fine that you let your opponent set up
yeah,
potentially. I don't know. We'll see.
I agree. Going to Slight now. Let's see Slight's deck. Hmm.
Yeah, Slight is
This is
lacking on
sketch.
the
This is
Pokemon
completely.
department.
Yeah, I think he was probably like splitting the line with Zach of the evolutions, and I don't know if he has like a good plan B here.
I mean, it's a good deck. It's just a really aggressive one with the Pokestop with the really high item quality. You go in with that Jolteon turn one to do that 40 and then follow it up turn two to do 50, I think is the idea. There is a Delcatty as well that you mentioned, so you can use that to clean up and do a lot of damage. But if your opponent sets up multiple high HP threats, yeah, your Pokemon might struggle to break through those, unfortunately. At least Zach does have some backup options with using that Arcanine for 120 to take out big HP Pokemon, but if Slight doesn't win the game early, I think Slight doesn't win at all. It seems
Yeah, we're talking about a 2-2 line and then a 1-1.
2-2-1-1 Fortress, right?
It's not great. Like it's very thin. I do not like this one. I think maybe he thought the archetype was open, but like it's so easy to get into it that well, he split
Yeah,
the
it
line.
does
It's just that.
fit into a bunch of different decks for sure.
Yeah.
But so we have 2-2 Eevee, 1-1 Delcatty, 1-1 Fortress, 1-1 Lantern, I think.
This is sketchy. This is the a deck I would make and go 1-2 just because like I wanted to play with the cards. Um do we go to
Actually,
Adam Carl? Do you want to take a look at more decks?
yes, sure. Well, yeah, either way, I'm down.
Adam Carl. Oh my god, this is still in pack order. It's so hard to know what he's doing.
So Adam Carl
A
has
Typhlosion, I think.
four Typhlosions, but no Arcanine. So it's a pure Typhlosion deck. And has some other cool pieces like the Moltres.
Bloody as the axe as
Has
well.
yeah. So you have those basic fire attackers to support your fire starter, and I think that is pretty decent. It's hard to read fully because it's not sorted, but I think the the Typhlosion line is strong enough that you have almost guaranteed a decent deck.
Yeah,
I'm
agreed.
just not sure if it's going to win at all. But I think probably one of your biggest issues is blue. So I think if Adam is to win, it's probably because they were able to dodge blue.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see JL's deck
So,
then.
oh wait, one last thing I wanted to say about Adam Carlos is the pack one pick one was citrus berry.
Yeah, citrus berry. It was really bad in this cube. Like pack one, pick ones are so important, and citrus berry is not one of them. Finally, a sorted deck here on JL side.
So JL has a Needle Queen, and I think has one Crobat. Yeah, I think JL kind of was hoping for Crobat's wheel based off the early pick of that Forest of Giant Plants,
Yeah.
but isn't even playing it anymore. So had to pivot off of it. Now is playing those two Noctowls instead as your draw engine. And actually, Noctowl I think is a pretty good attacker too in this.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Cube.
It's 3 for 80 if you can set it up, which is like on your draw Pokemon. That's pretty good, and it's even colorless. He also gets a Doldrio now, so the deck is actually draws a lot of cards.
The deck's not bad. Has that Noctowl. It's basically a Noctowl attacking deck with some tech options like that Celebi Prime that we were mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good attacker. Goes along pretty well with that Holland Electrode. The Fortress G in this cube is a stage 1.
Yeah.
But is pretty solid. I mean, its attack is really, really good. Both attacks are pretty decent, actually.
Yeah. He also has a switch, which is really good with that card. You attack, switch, attack with something else, and then you go up, attack again, because you can do the attack twice in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I enjoy that card. And the deck that he has around it. But I think it's a bit sus. Like, he didn't do the thing.
Yeah, there's nothing super, super strong, but does have just, like, decent attackers overall with really good items. Counter Catcher, Double Gust, Aroma, Pokeball, Quick Ball. So I think it's similar to Slight's deck, where I think you are just hoping to out-consistent your opponent and win that way.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think I would be surprised if JL and Slight, I think because of how their deck is so consistent, they almost will definitely win somewhere. But if they can get that 3-0, that'll be kind of the
Shocking,
question.
Right? I agree. Let's go to Warrior Z now. He was drafting Executor, if I'm not mistaken. And
We do have some Executors, that's for sure.
Two, right? And the Vaporeon, the Vaporeon and Jolteon line is completely split. No one has more than one of each.
I mean, they're really good by themselves, and they are very splashable, so it makes sense. I mean, I would play the 1/1 Jolteon or 1/1 Vaporeon in almost any deck.
Yeah, basically, they're really good. Let me just... I need to do some housekeeping here, tell the players of times and deck building. So, yeah, I guess I'll ask you to keep taking a look at Warrior Z's deck.
Yeah, sure. So, looking at Warrior Z's deck, I'm trying to see what your main attackers are. It looks like they are the Executors plus that Vaporeon as a side attacker. We do have some other options, like that Bronzong Mysterious Treasure. We have 2/2 line, which is your support with the Miracle Oracle. You can either draw one card or you can discard an energy card to draw 2. Warriors, I think, speculated into Dragons a little bit. We know that it won the Cube League, so there was a lot of eyes on it. So Warriors picked up the Garchomp and the Salamence, but actually doesn't have any Altaria, so going to pivot off of that. Warriors does have the Lantern, the 1/1 Lantern line, and I think you should play it. I think it's stronger than it seems, but it's currently sorted to the bottom, so maybe not considering it right now.
Yeah. I want to go to Mysterious Player, second to last.
Sure. Let's see Mysterious Player real quick. So MP was the one with a lot of strong items and supporters. I'm looking at the supporter lines. It's actually crazy with the 2 Professor Birch's observations, the Juniper. There's an N. Now the question is, are there Pokemon to back it up? Oh, the item quality is not bad either. With 2 order pads, order pads are really good. With the 1 dual ball, 2 Pokecoms, which are not bad, of course. So Mysterious Player drafted a lot of good items and supporters. Maybe the strongest supporter line. No, definitely the strongest supporter line. Maybe
Yeah.
one of the stronger item lines. Now the question is, are there enough Pokemon to support that? And there's kind of a mishmash of different things. We do have one Typhlosion that's being played. Mysterious Player has checked that off, and that is the Neogenesis Typhlosion, the one that can attach 4 fire energy to itself. The attack is pretty good. The problem with the attack is that you can't attack with it twice in a row because you discard 3 fire energy cards attached to the Typhlosion. So, what other attacks can MP take advantage of? There is one Ancient Origins Malamar. There is one Sword and Shield Altaria to not as an attacker, but to set up your supporters, and you do have a lot of good ones. What else is here? The Delcadia Platinum, not bad, of course. Like we were saying for Slight, that will definitely be in the deck for sure. Just a lot of support Pokemon, a lot of good draw, but not a lot of good attackers. I think the Nidokings are in the list, but right now it looks like MP isn't thinking about playing them.
Yeah, it's funny that we see MP like live deck building.
Yep.
He's like checking the box of the cards he wants, and that's actually pretty funny to see someone deck building live on stream. It's funny, like there's such a big divide between like good Pokemon, not great trainers, and then like great trainers and not good Pokemon. It's basically like you can put every deck in one of those lines, except for Zax. I think Zax's deck is completely nuts.
I think Zach's deck is good, and I think blue might be my second choice.
Yeah, I agree.
The
Well,
item line, the support line is a little bit sketchy, but I think it's enough. It's enough to get you there.
yeah, we haven't seen Apsy's deck, so let's take a look at that one. Hit grass.
Yeah, this might be, could be also a number 2 contender. It's hard to read how many supporters or like what supporters Apsy has because they're kind of all over the place. But there is an Iono. Double Fava. I don't think we're gonna be playing both of those.
Maybe actually, like I think Crobat is
because
pretty
you're a
good
Crobat.
at being annoying. Double Flare Gun, double Faba. Maybe there's a world. I think this deck is really good actually. It has 2 Floettes, so these grass guys, have so much HP. It's crazy. You can tank people for days with your Crobat and like keep killing their hand. The only thing I don't, well, no, he does have 2 Hidden Legends Crobat, which is I think the most important one. Either Toxic or the attack that discards card from your opponent's hand. They are really strong. Has 1 Forest. And do we have any timer balls, dual balls?
No. So the only ball search is 2 Ultra Ball, 1 Aroma, 1 Evolution Incense.
It's not bad, but it's not great. This cube like kind of asks you to have more.
So I think the concern here is like the Pokemon search, and there's no real draw either. We have 2 Artisans. That's kind of helping your Pokemon search, I think.
Sure.
You're not a fan of them, but I think with no dual balls, I think you kind of have to play them.
You have to, of course, you have to play them. And I guess your opponent can use Artisan, and then you can like kill their hand. So Artisan is like, if it was Mesa Goza, it was a lot worse. Do we have any Mesa Goza?
No, it doesn't look like it.
Don't. Okay, yeah, I think Artisan is fine for this one actually. Has a lot of.
We have 2 Erica. Interestingly enough.
Erica, yeah, I like Erica here because you can Erica and then like kill their best card. Erica, we do have a Judge as well, a Judge and an Iono, so, and a Jesse James. So we Erica and then we start attacking the hand. So we are the only ones with a lot of cards in the hand. I actually like
Yeah,
that.
Eric on the Judge makes sense, but I don't know. I think the Pokemon line is obviously really powerful with the 3 Charm, the 2 Floettes, and the Crobats, but maybe the draw might be a little bit lacking. Let's see. I assume they have the draw Golbats. I would guess.
Um,
Yeah, one Battle Styles Golbat. Not doesn't have both of them, but
that's fine,
even one
right? I
does help.
think. Yeah, that one
Yeah.
is okay. Yeah, I think this one is like a number 2 contender, but the more decks I look, the more I think Zach is going to win his second champs in a row.
Yeah, I think Zach's attack is really strong. Let's, I guess, go back to blue for real quick, see if there were any other interesting last minute pickups.
I don't
Not
think so.
super, yeah. Kahili could potentially see the deck. Alima could potentially see play, but other than that,
Secret Mission is
Ditto
pretty fine.
could be. You do have a lot of energy acceleration now, so Ditto might be fun, but
I'm really
I think you
interested. I
don't.
think this one is the most important deck that I want to like see the final build because it can go so many
Yeah,
ways. Like I still don't know if we're gonna play Maxi and Archie. Maybe we play only Maxi with only Archie. I don't know because like the setup isn't 100% here. It's kind of a bit here, but not.
yeah. I think you are really hoping that your Serpent Psychic control helps you get to where you need to be. If you can copy a computer search or an Ultra Ball or a Night Teleport at the right time, I think that'll be key.
Which is not great. It's not a great thing to like hope that your opponent plays good cards so you can play good cards. We do see the 5/4/5 in Blue's draft, but not necessarily on the deck. There are a lot of Pokemon we're cutting here, like those lanterns, maybe even the Swirlix. The Swirlix? No. What's the evolution of Swirlix?
Slurpuff?
Slurpuff, yes, of course. It's right there. Maybe I don't even know if we play a 1/1 Slurpuff. Do we? Do you have a Floatstone for that? We passed on a Manaphy for Floatstone, so maybe I guess.
I think you might. Or you can just hope that your Claydol gets you there.
Well, anyway, I think we have looked at every deck. You are watching this in the future. You are 30 minutes ahead of us. So when you finish watching this, round 1 will be up in like, I think less than 10 minutes. Any last messages before round 1, Vic?
I'm excited to see how these decks turn out, and see you soon, chat.
Yep. So we'll be right back, chat, and round 1 will begin very soon.